My guest today was working a full-time job, building a side hustle, married with 5 kids, and holding it all together with sheer willpower. Then someone looked him in the eye and said, "You've got a stick of dynamite in your hands. You can blow up your family, your side hustle, your job, or yourself, but you've got to choose one." That was the moment everything changed for Justin Ricklefs, founder of Guild Collective and author of the book Give a Damn. Today, he talks about what he chose, what it cost, and what he learned about leadership, constraint, and building a business that doesn't destroy everything around it. Let's dive right in. This is Eric Anderton, and you're listening to Construction Genius, a leadership masterclass. Thomas Edison said that genius is 1% inspiration and 99% perspiration. If you're a construction leader, you know all about the perspiration, and this show is all about the 1% inspiration that you can add to your hard work to help you to improve your leadership. Justin, welcome to Construction Genius.
It's good to be here, Eric. Thanks for having me, man.
Yeah, you're welcome. You do a lot of work on leadership and thinking about leadership, and you say that leadership starts with looking in the mirror, which something that I know I've heard before sounds a little vague. What are leaders actually supposed to be looking for when they do look in the mirror?
Ooh, goodness. Yeah, it can be vague. I think practically for me, it meant my journey started honestly at a counselor's office where I started to have to reckon with some of my own reality. And I think especially when you're building a thing that you own or start, there's nowhere else to hide in terms of you can't blame a boss, you can't blame the client. Like you don't have to, but the invitation is to begin to take full responsibility for your reality. And I think the journey of beginning to see some of the maybe unhelpful or unhealthy parts of you. Again, you don't have to look in the mirror, but as you do, and you get practical with your affect and impact on others, and in the ways that I'm convinced that especially the entrepreneurial path is one that's, I think, an undersold part is how much self-work is required to grow and to change and to evolve and to stare at really ugly things in the face that sometimes you've done and caused. And so, yeah, I think practically speaking for me, it's been, am I willing to look at things honestly? Because at my most unhelpful, I like to avoid or minimize or run from and hope things will maybe just get better. But I think the leadership journey it's a self-discovery and self-responsibility path that, again, you don't have to walk it, but once you start down that road, you start to see things differently and you get to choose growth. You get to have a beginner's mind. I don't want to get too long-winded on your awesome question, but I think it's far from a vague road. It's a very specific, sometimes painful road, actually.
You mentioned the counselor's office. Why were you in the counselor's office, and what kind of counselor? It doesn't sound like a school counselor.
Things stopped working. The old tricks and game that I was subconsciously doing this. I wasn't doing it intentionally, but I got to my late 30s. My dad had open heart surgery, and I found myself much more manufactured, and not in a good way, not in like a squeaky clean way, but in a hollow way. And this kind of what I describe as maybe dissonance between like my projected image and my actual identity and my actual truth were causing lots of friction. They were relationally not going great in really every area of my life. And ultimately it's because I didn't really know myself. You went deep quick, bro. And I didn't volunteer to go to counseling. I got instructed to by a good friend who's like, "Hey man, if you want to get well, you should go see this guy, Rick." And I went into Rick and I thought I could convince him or impress him or show him that I was good enough to not need his services. And thank God he's so great at his job. He just listened to me for a little bit and then he started giving me his medicine, which were, at the time, really painful. And I didn't know all this at the time, but I learned how defended I was, how scared I was, how self-protective I was. And so those experiences started to unfold in Rick's chair. And actually, interesting timing. He and I and a good friend had breakfast this morning, and it's a decade later, and able to tell him with gratitude and clarity of thought that I'm thankful for his tough love that felt very much like a foreign language to me at the time.
So at the point that you went for counseling, did you own your business at that point?
It was a baby. It was the side hustle baby. It was the one. And in fact, in that season, I had a full-time job. My wife and I have 5 kids. I was trying to build the business in the margins. And in fact, one of the metaphors that was used was like, hey, you've got a stick of dynamite in your hands. Do you want to blow up your family? Do you want to blow up your full-time job? Do you want to blow up your side hustle, or do you want to blow up yourself? You got to choose one. And I was like, how can I just keep doing all this stuff? And again, it wasn't going that great. And so the intention, again, with no like drama associated with it, I know that can be like a violent metaphor, but I chose to blow up my full-time job because I was unable to give our business the focus and attention and life. And I was eroding everything else around me, trying to do all of it. So yeah, honestly, it was right in that season. Guild was a brand new side hustle baby. And it was starting to unravel pretty quickly in terms of what and frankly, like I started to kind of mix roles and identity. And I was like, which person am I? Am I like corporate Justin here? Is this side hustle Justin? And so that dissonance was growing, and the cracks in the armor were showing. Thank God they were. At the time, I was not thankful for those lessons, but with the benefit of hindsight, I am.
Tell me what Guild does, just so that the audience has some context here, please.
Yeah, so we're a decade in almost. And in its most simple form, we are helping brands discover their heartbeat. And what we mean by that is a strategic system of building a human-first brand blueprint. The agency word is brand strategy. Our clients don't want to buy brand strategy. They think that's lame. And so what they do love buying is a human-first brand blueprint that allows their business to grow from the inside out through the power of a strategic story. And so we have a process. It's not a formula. We have a process. We have workshops. We have a methodology that helps companies get clear on their purpose, on their people profiles, and then ultimately how their brand beats in an energetic and an emotionally compelling way from the inside out. Some people like put it in the marketing bucket. That's certainly part of it. But it's much more fundamental to the business growth is this gap between tactics and business strategy. That's what we define as brand.
Okay. Going back to this idea of what brought you to the counselor's office in terms of looking in the mirror. Now, I'm interested because you talked about you got your family, you've got your side hustle, you've got your main gig, you got your marriage. So marriage, kids, family, side hustle, and the idea was you've got to get rid of one of these if you're going to be able to thrive. Is that basically what you're saying there?
Yes, that's exactly what he didn't use the word thrive, but he was like, something's going to break.
Something's going to break.
You can either wait until it does, or you can have some agency to choose what you want to give life to. So thrive's a great one.
I think it's interesting for entrepreneurs to think about because, what you're describing, it sounds like, is that we only have a certain amount of bandwidth in our lives. And if we get overcapacitated, that's when we begin to break down, either physically, emotionally, spiritually, however you want to label that. Yes. How is that breakdown manifested, do you think? I mean, you can share about yourself, but I mean, how do we begin to see that breakdown? How do I know when I'm getting overcapacitated?
Oof. I have grown. I did not used to appreciate this, but I've grown to be so thankful for constraint and order. And by that, I mean, left to my own wandering, I will be disordered. I will prioritize things that are not fundamentally important. And I'm becoming, this is hard, this is a practice for me, but I'm becoming more of an ordered person. And by that, for me, I'm a brand person, so I love alliteration, but I have 5 priorities in my life. It is number 1, my faith. Number 2, I call it fitness, but I mean my soul health, my self health. I'm putting oxygen on my own mask or own face in the mornings.
Yep.
My family, so my relationships with the 6 people who share my last name, my wife and our 5 kids.
Yep.
Then my finances, and then my friends. And ultimately, I hope friends kind of keep bumping up the list instead of down. But when I name constraint, that focus allows me to actually find fulfillment and freedom. And when it's disordered, my God, I'm just a squirrel looking for some validation or approval or applause or some like fear-based, scarcity-minded food. And again, not that it's perfect and it's always one way or the other, but that's been helpful for me, especially 10 years in, to go like, yeah, when you're building a small business, the rocket fuel required and the horsepower required and the energy required, you can give and give and give, and it can consume you. And so I think I've been in process on all this stuff, but to reorient my relationship with it, it's like, no, it is a business we own, but it's not my identity. It's not the whole of my existence. And being able to have family and friends help me separate those two things and keep me honest about that has been really helpful.
So those 5 things that you mentioned, those aren't obviously directly related to your business, it sounds like, but it's more like, if I have these in order, then the way I'm showing up in my business will be different, will be positive, will be better.
Yes. We'll be grounded. We'll be clear. We'll be abundant. We'll be gracious. Like even the really simple thing that's helped me transform my own life is not every morning, but 5 out of 7 mornings of the week, I write 10 things I'm grateful for. I literally write gratitude and 10 things. And it's just this simple reframe of like, man, I don't have to hustle for more. I don't have to like inject all this willpower and this crazy energy to try to build something. It's let what comes and receive these gifts and be grateful for them. And then of course you've got to focus and do the work that's in front of you, but as opposed to the chase of, I got to like get the next client, hire the next person, get to a next revenue thing. I want to build a healthy, profitable, continually growing business. And to your point, like when I'm overcapacitated, it is an anxious, frenzied, scared posture, not one that's like grounded and rooted in something more significant than my own striving.
Okay, let's explore this idea of constraint. Just give a definition of what you mean by a constraint.
I mean, even the way I discussed Guild's capabilities. There used to be a time when I would say, well, yeah, we could do your video and your website development and your this and your that, and we can do all of this stuff. But I've reached the point of exhaustion of doing all things for all people. And it's like, no, like this is what we do. And this is who we do it for.
Yes.
And trusting that clarity and that focus actually brings the people energetically to us that are aligned with the things that we love doing and are good at doing and can charge more money for doing, versus this like, and again, I've done it all. Like I've kind of scraped and clawed for like, oh, we'll take your little $2,500 thing and we'll also do this other thing we're not very good at, but we'll kind of tell you we're good at it because I'm desperate to keep the payroll machine running. So constraint is, how do we simplify? How do we get clear? How do we be disciplined? And that's not in my like hardwiring to be focused and small and simple. But when I've experienced it, it's like, damn, that's way better. And the flow happens from a creative standpoint. It's like every artist ever has had a constraint. It's either like, hey, here's one piece of stone, or here's one canvas. You've got a border on it. How do you create within that? And so the wide open free for all is not actually beneficial. So for us to get, and there's wonderful thinkers like Cal Newport on deep work and lots of others who have helped shape my thinking to go like, actually it's in simple essence, not in this like wide open field of possibility. The wide open field of possibility is actually torture for someone like me.
All right, quick break to talk about my book, Construction Genius. This is what I want you to do. Go to Amazon, search for the book, read all of the 5-star reviews, because there's a ton of them. Over 50 to be precise. And the reason I want you to read them is because real people wrote those reviews who've actually read the book. And it'll give you an idea of why you should go and buy a copy right now on Amazon. And here's the deal. If you purchase 10 or more copies for your company, and then send me an email, eric@constructiongenius.com, I'll come in via Zoom and do a 1-hour Q&A and a bonus training session with your team at no charge. I normally charge $4,500 for an hour of my time. And again, for you, I'll do it at no charge if you buy 10 or more copies of my book. And the reason you should buy it is all in the title. It's effective, hands-on, practical, simple, no BS, leadership, strategy, sales, and marketing advice for construction companies. So if you're in the construction industry, this book is for you. So you can get it on Amazon. You can also get it on Audible in the audio version as well, narrated by yours truly. And I know you'll really enjoy it. So go out and get the book. And now back to the interview. So it's interesting because you mentioned there are things that you love, things that you're good at, things that are profitable. And it's interesting for people who are listening here to ask themselves in terms of the niche that they're working in. Are those things related to the work that you're doing at the moment?
It's a great question. I'm looking at your book, Construction Genius, behind you. And it's like I can take some wisdom from you too in this conversation, but I was anti-niche for a long time, just out of like sheer stubbornness and renegade belief that I could crack the system, right? It's like, no, we don't have to niche down on anything. We're going to help everybody. Right. And we're going to do it our way. And I'm like, oh, wait, there's actually such wisdom in specificity. And there's such wisdom in simplicity. And we're right this moment in process on, there's some things surfacing in like our construction work, in our healthcare tech work, and in our education work that I'm like, man, maybe we're even getting closer to the mark of what from an industry standpoint, but we have niched down into, frankly, a smaller team. We had a almost double-sized team last year, and wonderful people who worked their tails off and gave a damn and really cared, and weren't fully aligned with the work that makes us come alive and that we're really great at and we can charge more money for. So we had to go through this painful process of trimming our staff, getting to the core 7 of our team members who are fully aligned with human first brand building and can bring value to the room without having middle management. And so our product has become niched and clear and repeatable. We haven't done one or two more steps into the industry specific, but we're going, hey, we want to work with visionary leaders who give a damn about their people and who are experiencing frustration between their business and their brand. So we've tightened the language a little bit, but we're not quite into like, hey, this is for construction owners of 100+ million or whatever else. Anyway, we're in process, and it's been really life-giving actually to go, no, this is who we are and who we serve.
So that process of developing a niche, it seems like it's kind of a combination of looking outward at the market and then looking inward at yourself in terms of what you deliver well, and then beginning to clarify those two perspectives into that which solves people's problems and delivers value. Yes. Am I making sense there? Is that clear?
Yes, it's so clear. It's really well said. And I think, again, for me, I'm an early disciple here in this movement, but I thought it's such a wild paradox is I thought that constraint would limit our growth.
Yeah.
But the actual inverse is beginning to happen, which is, no, it is the compounding and clear and generative path.
Yeah.
And like for whoever out here is listening that was like me up until this point, like I wish I would have done it 8 years ago. I had people telling me to do it 8 years ago and I didn't. And I think it all mattered and we had to go through the thing to get clear on what it was and all that. So there's no shame in it. But I do think the belief now is like, holy crap, all of you nichers were right. So
it's interesting.
You're right.
When it comes to your family, how do you think through that constraint in terms of the amount of time that you spend with them and the activities that you do with them when you're spending time with them?
Another great question. So our kids are getting older, which is a weird thing. We've got one living. Kids? We've got 22, 20, 18, 16, 14. Okay, so we got 2 out of the house. Our middle daughter is about to leave the house. She goes to college in the fall. We have a sophomore in high school, 8th grade daughter. And my God, dude, it just evaporates. Like it just evaporates. It's just gone, right? It just evaporates. And I think the greatest gift I'm able to offer them is presence. Not provision, money, not a house. Like all this stuff's important, but it's ordered. It's number 4, right? Like the presence to be with them and to be in a relationship with them and to know them and to be curious about them. It's difficult regardless because we've got 5.
Yep.
But it is, when I'm honest with myself, it's the most rewarding thing on the planet. It is the most rewarding thing on the planet is to have a relationship with those 6 humans. And it's when ordered and in an appropriate sequence. It doesn't, I mean, I still work 30 to 40 hours a week, but I don't work 80. I really don't.
Right.
I used to, but it's like, I started this business because I wanted time and I wanted flexibility and I wanted the ability to be at the 4:00 B team volleyball game. Right.
Right.
And that's what I'm really proud of, is that we've done that and prioritized that. And as they start to get into like their young adult years, it's like, oh my God, like it's just a gift to be with them and have a relationship with them. And so practically speaking, what we're, again, imperfectly trying to do is there's been this like when they're all little and controllable, we like had family dinners and stuff.
Sure.
And then we went through this whole stretch where it was like kid activity city, where it's like soccer, volleyball, and basketball and all the crap. And now we're in this other season where it's like starting to get slow again and intentional again. And even just to have a 20-minute dinner without a phone for everybody is the magic. Now, again, we're not doing that 8 hours a day. Got to go to work and they got to go to school and all that other stuff. But those moments, even, recently we bought an $8 game at Walmart called Trouble. It was built in like the 60s. And we're playing Trouble as a family, like pushing the little thing. And like those types of moments are like, that is where richness exists, man. It is just so deeply satisfying. And it's so simple, but at the exact same time, it's so damn difficult because we're all just highly distractible creatures.
Think about the last time you promoted someone into a leadership role and it failed. Why did it fail? I can tell you one reason. People know how to build projects, but they don't know how to build and lead teams of people. Construction comes with its challenges that only insiders truly understand. Generic leadership training doesn't cut it. You need a program to train your leaders built specifically for construction professionals led by an industry expert. And my online course, The Shift, is exactly that course. It has 5 modules. It'll teach your people how to control their calendars and reduce stress and embrace chaos and accomplish their critical tasks. It will teach them the 3 essential messages they have to communicate every day in order to motivate and lead their team effectively. It'll show them how to build and lead a high-performing team, give them a framework for running effective meetings so they'll be able to solve problems in less than an hour, and also give them a higher perspective on their leadership that will enable them to work on the business and on their teams and not get stuck in the weeds micromanaging. So go out to my website, theshift.constructiongenius.com, read all about the course, and then enroll yourself and your leaders in the course, and I guarantee that it will transform your leadership. If it does not, you take the whole course and you didn't get benefit from it, you just send me an email, eric@constructiongenius.com, and I will cheerfully refund you 100% of your money. I'm really confident this course will transform your leadership. So again, go out to the website, theshift.constructiongenius.com, learn more about the course, and start taking it today. You've got a couple of kids, 3 maybe, who are through the teen years. What advice would you have for entrepreneurs helping their young men and women, their children, navigate those teen years? Where have you been successful? Where would you, if you had to redo, you would do something different?
Oh, instantly, what comes to mind, if I could redo, I think one of my top regrets parenting-wise is I tended to be more open, throttled on social media use. And my wife, bless her heart, her intuition and clarity was much stronger than mine. And so she ran our kids' device policies. And thank God she did, because I think as a 45-year-old, it's hard for me to have boundaries with my damn phone because it's literally created to distract you.
Yeah.
And so rewind me to a 14-year-old, that would have been impossible. It would have been a total mess. And so that number one regret is like, man, if you got kids who are in, it will feel weird. It will be weird. Like they will be pissed. They will be frustrated.
Yep.
They will be the outliers. But when Steve Jobs is telling people not to give devices to his own kid. Like he doesn't allow his kids to be on the phone. It's like, there's a problem.
Yeah.
It is the dopamine drip is not good for your psychology.
Yep.
So that's like hardcore regret. I'd say the other end of that pendulum though is like, it is presence. Like go to their stuff, like drive them to their thing, be
Yeah.
with them. They want you more than they want the thing you can buy them. And they may scream otherwise. They may want the fancy stuff, but what they really want is you.
Yeah.
And I think the most powerful thing a parent can offer is their presence. And of course, like formation, spiritually, emotionally, all that other stuff comes alongside that. But you can't like outsource character development. It's the work of the mom or the dad.
Yeah, it's interesting. I've been driving my 15-year-old son to his sports events lately, and we've been having some really good conversations. And it's funny. I'm reflecting on how, he's going to turn 16 soon. And one of the things that we like to do with our kids is we like them driving because it makes things better for us or easier.
Yes. How many kids do y'all have?
Yeah. And I've just been reflecting on how when he's driving, this is going to take away some of these conversations that we're having, because we're having some really excellent conversations. And so that presence and that time. And I think it's really important to be thoughtful about what you're doing during those times in terms of the conversations you're having with your kids.
Yes. It happened. We have our fourth kiddo is our one son, and he just got his license 2 weeks ago. And I mean, even like talk about entrepreneurship. So we own the commercial real estate building that our company leases. Okay. It's brick wall behind us. Right. Small little place on the county square, and built in the 1860s. And so part of our rhythm is we have to clean the building. And so we, instead of paying other people, we pay our kids to clean the building. And so a couple nights a week, I'd be able to drive Silas up here and we'd talk. Even it's 12 minutes from our house, but we talk, and I'd help him vacuum and whatever. And that time together was doing a couple things. One is I'm being with him and I'm being curious about his life and asking him about his friends and his girlfriend and his school and his sports and whatever. And then we're just doing stuff together that he sees what it takes to build a thing and own a thing. And now he drives himself up here and I'm like, damn it. He's got his own license, which on one hand has made my life easier, right? But on the other hand, I've missed that. I have, like right when you said that, I'm like, yeah, those little moments with him already.
Going to the aspect of your relationship with your wife, I know many entrepreneurs, obviously they take a lot of support from their spouses, but at the same time, a marriage can be really strained through the entrepreneurial journey. What have you done over the years to maintain a healthy relationship with your spouse while still staying focused on your business?
Yeah, it's such a great question. And it's all related. There's no separation from it. I think a former version of me loved to compartmentalize things and be like, oh, that's work and that's home and that's, church and this is whatever. And like in this world, at least in this season of my life, like it's all integrated. It's all the same. It all matters. It's not all the same. It all matters. And so answer you directly is we've tinkered and tried to figure out the right rhythms for all this. But one thing that practically I would encourage anybody who's building a business to listen carefully from my mistakes is valuing her voice and seeking it first before a client or an employee or even a partner in the business. But Brooke's insights and her instincts and her intuition are so rich. And no, she's not doing the like day-to-day part of it, but like she's every bit as at risk and at potential reward from this journey. And so I think, and back to your very first question of looking in the mirror.
Yeah.
When I ignore her thoughts, advice, or minimize her input, it's in the short term, whatever. It's easier, I guess, short term, but it's never the right move. And again, I've been in process on all this because I'm like, oh my God, Brooke she sees me, she sees the emotional health of our team, she sees some of the pitfalls that I'm not open to. And so I think in that language of, now again, it's like, it would annoy her if I like shared every little nitpicky thing that I'm worried about. But also when there's something brewing that it's a move of the heart to say, hey, I'm struggling with this. What do you see here? How do I handle this? And her counsel has buoyed us in such a big way. And so I think, practically it's like being courageous enough to tell your partner the truth and be humble enough to listen to what they have to say.
Yeah, it's interesting. If you had to start your business all over again, knowing what you know now, what would you do differently?
I say this like kind of tongue in cheek. I don't think I would have started one, truly. Like, I think the mirage of entrepreneurship, if you just like read LinkedIn posts, you're like, oh, this is going to be amazing. We're going to crush it, right? Like, we're going
Yeah.
to crush it and it's going to be awesome. And there are awesome parts to it, for damn sure. But I think if you told somebody on the front end of the journey that, hey, this is what it's going to take, this is what's going to be required, this is how you're going to feel certain times, this is what reality will be when you're like scrounging around for checks to arrive in the mailbox to make payroll the next day, I would have been like, no, I'm good. Actually, I enjoy this W-2 thing in these 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Like, but so that's the big caveat is like, I honestly don't think I would do it.
Right.
Now, the beautiful part is like what's unfolded in that journey, and to see the reservoir of resilience that gets built, and to understand how your relationship with risk works, and to solve really complex problems, and to get your face beat in a little bit. And then to see those, like the big, it's kind of like a game of golf. It's like you hit a few shots and you're like, this is amazing. And like, those are the moments that when you see it go off for somebody else and you get to employ somebody who has a big, really journey of their own growth and transformation, like those things are so rewarding. But the honest answer is like, if you would have said, hey, this is what it's going to take for the next 9 years, I would have been like, I think I'm good.
What's your long-term vision for your business? Where do you see yourself in 5 to 10 years, let's say?
We're working through that right now. There, for a period of time, kind of like my anti-niche season, I've hesitated to use the word scale because I was in this place where I was like, well, you can't scale soul. And I don't want to like lose soul, and I don't want to lose our culture. And what I think there was some work for me to do underneath that was my own fear, actually, of what if it goes really well? And what if it does have lots of impact? And so I'm working through with therapy and wife and partners in the business to go, hey, what if this path is the right one to scale, this human first brand building?
Sure.
And I read Science of Scaling by Benjamin Hardy about 2 months ago. And I was like, it rattled me in a way that I've not been rattled by a business book for a while. And I was kind of like, wait, is this scarce and small of me to not step into a more healthy, powerful stance towards this? Because what we do works and it does matter and it's generating growth. And so I don't have the firm answer, but where I'm leaning, Eric, is we want to create meaningful abundance in our own business first. That's our purpose statement. And we want to help others do the same. And so for us, we did $2 million in revenue last year, which is awesome. And it's not just a money thing, but it's like, hey, with roughly the same size team, could we 10x that and have a big impact on a lot of small businesses in the country that care about building a human first brand? So those are the questions that are surfacing, which are really fun to start to answer.
It's awesome. I know you've recently written a book. Tell us a little bit about your book.
Yeah, the book's called Give a Damn. And the subtitle is The Catalyst for Caring Companies. And it's written from all of these perspectives. It's just like these real-time reflections of, I don't have like success bias yet. We're figuring it out, right? So I didn't like build and sell a thing and have a crap ton of cash and free time to write a book. I wrote this thing from the arena, like with dust and blood all over my face, to go like, I think companies who invest, it used to be for like this either or conversation of like, hey, you got to like build culture and be kind of soft, or you got to like double down and just make money. And there's so many beautiful examples of businesses who are both who are the high care, high commerce. And so that's the exploration is, hey, if leaders can understand, again, this is the work was my own. I wrote the book for myself, first of all, which is, hey, if I can grow in my curiosity, if I can grow in my compassion, if I can grow in my clarity, which that was the hardest damn one to write. And then if I can grow in my consistency, the impact of that, the byproduct of that is a caring culture. And will the business grow if the leaders invest in care? And so that's the exploration is, can care be a competitive advantage? And there's loads of awesome examples of companies who are winning with care, and they've adopted like a both and mentality, not an either or mentality. And so the book's a reflection. It's a bunch of stories, and it's ways that I've picked up from other leaders along the way, including clients, like how you can be heart led and care about a growing profit. And that's the thesis of the book.
Excellent. Excellent. Well, Justin, I'm going to put a link in the show notes to the book so people can go out to Amazon and buy it. And
I appreciate that, Eric. That means a lot.
Yeah, no, it's awesome. And I really appreciate you with this idea of constraints today. I think that's been a really good discussion. Those 5, you said your faith, your fitness, and you weren't just referring to your physical fitness there, but to the health of your soul.
Yeah, that's right.
Family, your finances, and friends. I think one of the key takeaways here is identifying your constraints and asking yourself, how effective, how real are you being within those constraints, accepting them and thriving in the midst of them. So I think it's a great framework for people to think through.
I appreciate that. Yeah, it came at a lot of pain and expense, but now the clarity is like, oh man, it's so life-giving once you have that clarity, for sure.
That's beautiful. Thanks so very much for coming on here today, Justin.
I appreciate it, Eric. Take care, man.
Thank you for listening to my discussion with Justin today. Hope you enjoyed this idea of constraints. What are your constraints, and are you embracing them? If you embrace your constraints, it will free you from your own chaos. Check out Justin's book on Amazon, and feel free to connect with him on his website or LinkedIn. Give the show a rating or a review, and share it with other people, because the more you share it with other people, the more people get to listen, and the more people get to listen, the more they can enjoy the awesome Construction Genius podcast. Thanks for listening. I'll catch you on the next episode. Thank you for listening to this episode of Construction Genius. Hope you found that 1% of inspiration to help you in the next few days. If you like the show, please give us a 5-star review on iTunes, share it with other construction leaders who you think would benefit, and always remember that the show is brought to you by Kick-Ass Meetings. I've been working with construction leaders since 2004, teaching them how to run extremely effective problem-solving meetings that gets their people collaborating, taps into their creativity. And to get yourself a free copy of the Kick-Ass Meeting Report, go to www.ericanderton.com/kickassmeetings. Grab yourself that free report, read it, use it in your business. You'll find it extremely useful. And thanks again for listening.